of different reports in Google Analytics that can help you gain insight into different aspects of your business and marketing. In the Reports section, the real-time report displays user activity that occurred in the past 30 minutes. You'll see the number of users, as well as insights like their geographic location and what devices are being used. Some common insights you can gain from this report include checking whether a one-day promotion is driving traffic to your site or app, monitoring the immediate effects of traffic from a blog or a social network post, or seeing whether new or updated content on your site impacts traffic. If you don't see any data in your real-time report, it's possible there are no active users. Note that real-time app data may be delayed to conserve phone battery or because a user's phone was offline. Under the lifecycle reports are sections for acquisition, engagement, and monetization. Since we've already covered overview and detail reports, as well as acquisition reports, let's jump to engagement. Google Analytics has 4 types of engagement reports. These are the Events Report, Conversions Report, Pages and Screens Report, and the Landing Page Report. Just like the other sections, the Engagement Overview Report is made up of individual cards that summarize engagement data from the other 4 engagement reports. Now, let's run through each of the detailed engagement reports. The Events Report shows how many times each event is triggered and how many users trigger each event on your website or your app. By analyzing the events users trigger, you can make improvements to the user experience and increase conversions. The Conversions Report shows information about each conversion event. The Pages and Screens Report shows which pages on your website and screens on your app get visits and engagement. You can view this data by page title and screen name, or select another dimension, such as the page path, to look at the engagement with pages or screens. Finally, you have the Landing Page Report, which shows the first page a visitor lands on when they visit your website and how many visitors land on each page. The next section under Lifecycle Reports is Monetization. This group of reports will provide data about purchases made on your website or your app. Additionally, if you have an app that includes ads, you'll see the revenue associated with each advertisement. The Monetization Overview Report contains cards that show a summary of data similar to the other overview reports. The E-commerce Purchases Report provides detailed information about the products or services you sell if you run an e-commerce store. If you are an e-commerce business, this report is important to be able to analyze your purchase data. The data in this report comes from recommended events for e-commerce businesses, so make sure that you set up these events correctly to show data in this report. The final 2 reports under monetization are specifically for apps, so let's switch over to the flooded demo property. The first report is the in-app purchase report. This report will show information about purchases made inside your app. And finally, we see the publisher ads report that will provide engagement and revenue data associated with advertisements that run in your app. Let's move back over to the Google Merchandise Store property and have a look at the last report under the Lifecycle section, the Retention Overview Report. This report is made up of cards that summarize user retention data on your website or your app. The Retention Overview card shows new and returning users. User retention by cohort shows how well your site or app retains users by cohort. A cohort is a collection of users who are grouped by some criteria, such as their first visit date. The User Engagement by Cohort card shows the average amount of time users engaged on your site or your app after they were first acquired. In this case, the cohort is the day that the users were acquired. At the bottom, you'll find the Lifetime Value card. This shows the average revenue generated by new users over their first 120 days. This chart can help determine the value of users based on the total revenue they generate over time. For example, a user purchases a shirt and then purchases pants the following week. Lifetime value, or LTV, would include both purchases, indicating the overall success of the customer acquisition. These are users you could then target with further advertising or promotions. Another section under Reports is the User section. Here, you'll find the demographic and tech reports, which give you insight into the characteristics of users visiting your website or your app. The Demographics report classifies users by age, location, language, gender, and the interests they express through browsing and purchase activities. Demographics data populates the report automatically as people use your website or your app. You can get more holistic demographic and interest data by turning on Google Signals. Google Signals are session data from sites and apps that Google associates with users who have signed into their Google accounts and who have turned on ads personalization. This association of data with these signed-in users is used to enable cross-device reporting, cross-device remarketing, and cross-device conversion export to Google Ads. For example, you can see how users browse products on your site from a phone and later return to complete purchases from a tablet or a laptop. For mobile app activity only, analytics derives demographic and interest data from the Android Advertising ID and the iOS identifier for advertisers. When the device advertising ID is not present, analytics can't provide this data. This means that demographic and interest data may only be available for a subset of your users and may not represent all of your traffic. The Demographic Details Report is a table report with many dimensions of demographic data available to analyze. By default, the report opens with the country dimension set as the default dimension, but you can use the drop-down menu to select any one of a number of primary dimensions to look at in this table. Now, let's look at the tech reports. They help you identify the technology that people use to access your website or your app, including things like their browser, screen resolution, app version, and operating system. Just like the demographics overview, you'll see a number of cards on the tech overview report that represent users by device or operating system. Next, we have the tech details report. Similar to the demographic details report, the tech details report is a table report with many dimensions of tech data available to analyze. By default, the report opens with the browser dimension set as the default dimension, but you can use the drop-down menu to select from several different primary dimensions, including things like device category, screen resolution, and more to look at in this table. As you can see, these reports will help you understand your users a lot better. You can identify trends and look for opportunities to reach more customers.